It is the St. James's Street house. The door has flown wide open, and you are all staring up, those of you that are here. You are all staring up at this creature, this ghost, this entity that has awoken and has decided to tell you it's not going to go quietly, but it is speaking with the voice of the father in law or something else behind it. You're not sure. It seems to be two voices in one, or one voice with something else behind it. Whatever it is floating above you right now, and there is a corpse. Well, the peering eyes of the neighbor, the nosy neighbor, Constance's head will peer no more, because she is, well, dead on the floor. So, that is what greets you when you burst into the St. James's Street home. What are you doing?
So when the door opened, Rose had her pistol in her hand, and like I think I think she kind of rashly like walked into the like just kind of stormed into the door or stormed past the door into the room, like pointing the gun around, and then she hears the voice, and so she is pointing her gun at the ghost, but she knows enough about ghosts that this is probably not going to be a useful weapon against such a thing.
And it laughs at you.
What are you going to do, little girl?
I think Lady Ross Carter is a step or two behind uh, Wild Rose, and as it starts to laugh, she looks at Rose and says, "Are you thinking that this bullet will hit this ghost?"
At that, she holsters her gun and says, "No, I know enough from ghosts. This isn't the proper weapon to use."
That's a wise move. Perhaps we should meet in the kitchen. And with that, Lady Ross Carter beelines towards the kitchen.
Where's the good doctor and Jack? And again, Constance's head is on the floor. Maybe the ghost had taken her out before you guys got there, or maybe, she had snuck in beforehand, and again, who knows? But she's there.
I think that it is very clear that Elinor does not expect this to be a live person, but has to go through the like, oh, there's no head. I still have to check a pulse. So I am on my knees next to a corpse.
Yes. Well, I mean, Constance, that's her name. Constance Head is her name.
Right.
She is there. I mean, like she's whole, but she's staring up at the ghost with her glassy eyes. Um, but yeah, I mean, she's distinctly dead. You check for a pulse, and she's not breathing. You know, she's not moving.
And I think then if we kind of pan upstairs in the
Mhm.
flat there, we see that Jack is in a bedroom that was boarded up, right? Like there's like the door is kind of knocked off the hinges, and there is a like putrid, nasty corpse like moldering in a bed there. And there's like some kind of like circle drawn around the bed with some, satanic looking stuff on it. And Jack, he's holding a hatchet in one hand, and he looks at it, and it kind of cocks his head, and he just gets this look like, I like, and he says, "Oh, okay, well, I guess it's gonna be like this then." And he walks over and he stands at the edge of the circle for a second, and he kind of like does one of these, and he sort of cracks his neck, and he says, "All right." And he like steps a foot over to the circle, and he kind of throws his arms out, and he says, Come and get me, old man. Here I am. And he knows that this will allow the, like the ghost, which has been looking around for an anchor, will rush to him.
I think the ghost hears that. It's almost like if you're still down there, Dr. Whitford, then you almost hear like an echo, as if what Jack says like is heard on a speaker, but that's not possible, right? It's like kind of echoes into the room, and you hear the ghost entity like perk up, and it's like,
Oh, a willing vessel. Ah,
and it immediately shoots up and goes through the ceiling. So,
Elinor says in a deeply aggrieved tone, Jack.
do you go? Which way do you go? Do you follow Lady Ross Carter and Larabee out to the kitchen, or do you go upstairs to Jack?
Upstairs to Jack, but with great, not, no reluctance, just resignation.
Oh dear. Okay, let's go over to the kitchen first. So, Lady
So
Ross Carter and Larabee, what are you doing?
we walk into the kitchen, and I recommend that Miss Larrabee get the oven going. We will probably need a fire before this night is done. I will start chopping the necessary ingredients, and I start grabbing all the various herbs and spices and vegetables, and I start chopping them up.
I will definitely start. I will definitely stoke a fire in the oven.
Okay. And just out of curiosity, was this plan checked in with each other first, or is this a separate plan from what Jack is doing? Just out of curiosity.
I like to think that we had that this was a plan that we had coordinated ahead of time.
Great. Okay. Just making sure. Okay. So we cut over to upstairs, and actually it's a back and forth, because it's like, we see Dr. Whitford like making her way up as quickly as possible, and then we cut over to the room as the ghost like bursts into the boarded up room and faces Jack. Jack, it's like, you've got this rictus grin of the ghost like staring up at you, almost as it's like kind of like doing that evil thing of like, bringing its hands.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
so you're going to play. You're going to be willing. Yes. Yes.
And I shake my head and I say, I am far too old for games. And the ghost is there like cackling at me and everything. And my right hand comes up and I yank, and it's just got like a plain silver ring on it. And I actually, you know what? I think it's my left hand. Yeah, like like where a wedding ring would go. And I yank it off, and there is this brand, this like glowing brand around the inside of my finger where that the ring was covering. And the ghost, like, its eyes widen as it realizes what's going on. And I snap that hand out and I grab it around the throat. And I shouldn't be able to, but something about that brand lets me grab it. And I say to the doctor, Dr. Whitford, I have it. I don't know how long it's gonna, how long I can hold it for, because like my hand is starting to like, it's doing that thing where it's like withering and starting to kind of like putrefy, like the corpse slowly working its way up my arm. If you could get them to hurry, please, I say to her.
I think it's like the ghost is actually grabbing onto you as well. It's like it's mirroring your movement, your action, and like grabbing you by the throat as well. Is there something about the tattoo actually that is doing something to the ghost, or is it just a regular tattoo and it's just putrefying by your neck?
That's my mark. That's my touched by death mark is that tattoo on that, whatever that mark around where, like I said, that I cover with a ring, right?
Right.
But
I mean, but around your neck, the tattoo on your neck.
Oh, the tattoo on my neck? No, I don't think that's like it's that's just I think the no, like that's not doing anything special.
Okay.
That's just, I got marked that's like a sign that I've been to far off places,
Okay.
and and strange things have happened to me there more than like I don't think it has a mechanical effect here.
Okay. Well, basically that's where it's touching you, and you
Yeah.
start to see the creep of the
Hmm.
putrefaction effect,
Yep.
where
Hmm.
it's touching you.
Yep.
So yeah, and it's like when you hear that, Dr. Whitford, what are you doing?
I'm shouting out the window, ladies, I believe Jack is accelerating our plans.
And what are you two doing when you hear that?
I think I've got the fire mostly start. I think I've got like the kindling going, and I throw a couple of logs on the fire.
Mhm.
I stand up. I say, "God damn it, Jack!" Um, I take a few steps forward, and then I like my head goes up, and I just kind of like sniff the air. Um, and I look over at and I look over at the at the one of the interior walls of the kitchen that adjoins the adjoins the dining room on the other side.
Mhm.
And still sniffing the air, she like walks over to the wallpaper, sees that a little piece of it is like buckling a little bit. She grabs it and she like rips a chunk of the wallpaper down and sees that there's like a hole in the wall that's been papered over. Um, and inside that are inside that are uh, inside there is a rotting human hand. And I'm going to say that is the clue from my quickening.
Yep. Take that if you want, and you can totally have that to use for later. Um, but I'm also
And
gonna
and
go ahead.
and she says, "Well, that ain't good."
Yeah. But I'm also going to say that, when you find that rotting human hand, you also find that what was also papered over was a crude dumbwaiter that leads upstairs into the room,
Ooh.
because you can hear the echoes from the ruckus upstairs.
Um, I test the rope. Does it seem to be
Mm-hmm.
lifting the?
Yep. You can do it. You
She
can do it.
says, "Well," she says, "this is probably a terrible idea." Climbs into the dumbwaiter and starts hoisting it up.
So we can just for funsies, because we love to do this shit. Night move, please. What do you think will go wrong if you fail or lose your nerve?
Um, I think what would go wrong is I think the rope is mostly rotten, and as she starts to go up, the rope snaps and she goes tumbling down into the basement.
Yeah. I think the way it can go worse is that the attention of the ghost comes from Jack and says, "Ah, fresher meat," and goes to you instead. For sure. All right, so basically roll. 2d6, please, with vitality.
Okay, my vitality is a 1. I'm just gonna roll it. I rolled a 6 plus 1 is a 7.
Okay, all right. You succeed. All right. Mixed success. So let's see. You succeed. Pooh. Oh, okay. I can see where this is going to go. All right. So tell me how you succeed, but I'm going to tell you that when you do this, though, um, things are going to start falling apart, because this house was already starting to become an eviction notice coming to life, and you all just made it worse with
Okay.
messing with this ghost.
So she hauls herself up to the next room, and she hears the telltale click that indicates that the dumbwaiter is at the next floor. And she goes to open the door, and either it's nailed shut or it's papered over or it's painted shut. The door doesn't open from here because they haven't used this dumbwaiter in a while. So again, she pulls out her gun, holds it by the barrel, and starts pounding at the door with the butt of her gun to try to break through.
Well, you break through, you tumble into the room, but I think the dumbwaiter will let go as soon as you like push off into the room, and as it goes with the crash, like it causes a chain reaction and things start to go. I think all of you will hear like the timbers start to creak, the bricks start to crumble, the foundations start to go. So I think it's going to be a good time to leave the premises, wherever you are. And the ghost starts to freak out because no. What's happening? What's happening? No! And yeah, it releases you, Jack, upon seeing that the house is in collapse. And the room is going to start to go. Rose, Dr. Whitford, Lady Ross Carter, Jack, you all need to get out. We can totally fast forward and you can tell me like where you end up, either just barely getting out or like Jack, you can tell me like, you know, where you end up in the rubble. That's fine too. But yeah.
Jack, would you like to save me as I attempt to get some sort of piece of the corpse?
Oh yeah, I think that's absolutely like I think it's the thing where it is starting to like
Stairs
you
are
go
collapsing.
yeah, like in the time it takes you to grab it, the stairs have collapsed, and I sigh and I say, don't uh, don't break anything. And like, you know, I do the thing where like I just like, you know, kind of clutch you around your shoulders and take a step back and just hurl myself backwards through the window, you know, shredded by glass. We fall 3 stories and like I'm flattened underneath you, but you know, like I take all the impact of the fall. And you know, like there's like a nasty crack as my head hits the curb or whatever, but you know, you can decide how roughed up you are by that, but you're going to survive that fall, you know, when I did not.
I would like to be triumphantly clutching some piece of the father-in-law's disintegrating corpse.
Absolutely. Well, I mean,
Okay.
right. I mean, like, because you're
Or
like
whoever's corpse it was.
like at the bottom of the stairs, like Constance, Constant head, or in the room.
Yes, whatever room I was in with Jack that had
Okay.
a moldering corpse. I
Yeah.
feel like that will have the most likelihood of having a piece of information.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Yeah. So I mean, like, you know, you tell me what piece of the corpse you have, and then you have it.
Okay. I think a skull, a face, and at least half of the spine.
Now you can't take that for your child. I mean, like, if you want a piece for your child,
No.
it's just a piece. Okay. All right.
No, I don't think this is for the child. I think that this is far grosser than I am more interested in clue or mode of death than I am getting a piece. If I'd wanted a piece, I probably should have stayed with Constance.
Yeah, this is not recyclable what we
Gotcha,
what we
gotcha,
found
gotcha.
here. Yeah.
It's not necromancy, it's recycling.
Yeah, that's funny.
But I would like to learn something, if at all possible, from whatever piece I've acquired.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, in particular about, you know what? Actually, like, let's make that your, if you want, you can make that your reward. You know?
Oh.
Yeah. And then, yeah, you can learn whatever you want from it. I'm perfectly happy with that.
So I think as Rose tumbled out of the dumbwaiter and she was just starting to get to her feet when like the house started shaking and like a crack appeared in the floor and a big chunk of the floor between where she was and the stairs is just not there anymore. The window shatters, and that's when she decides that that's probably the best way out of here. And tell me if I need to make a roll. I just like want to like do a little foreshadowing here. Rose, Rose kind of hunches down and like makes a leap out the window and lands on the ground almost cat-like. Lands on the ground almost cat-like, even though it was like a two-story fall. And she stands up and just kind of like brushes herself off a little bit from the falling plaster and whatnot. And then she like walks around to the other side of the house to see to like try to regroup with the others.
And I think we see Lady Ross Carter slowly walking out of the kitchen after she's lit a stick from the kindling box on fire, and she's walking out and just kind of tosses it behind her onto the couch to watch it burn, because she figures this was the best way to send this demon off to its place. And we probably see a shot of her walking out of the front door with a lot of smoke just kind of building up behind her.
Yep. And then then there's a a fairly, it's a nice carriage. It's a comfortable looking carriage. It's driven by a top-hatted gentleman-looking fellow with long hair. And through the window you hear,
Fire always seems to solve everything, doesn't it, Mondi?
a voice you haven't heard for quite some time.
Am I close enough to hear this?
Oh, yes. Because it rolls up right as you're coming out onto the street.
I kind of pause for a moment and I kind of perk up to have this I know this voice. And I turn around. I say, "Oh, it's you."
Yes, it's me. I'm
Came
back
to
in
see the
town.
show?
Well, you always were one to put on a little bit of a spectacle, if I remember correctly.
Entertainment's as valuable as cash.
How are you, dear?
And I think we probably see the house start to light up a little bit more. And she says, "Well, these London nights get cold, so sometimes we have to warm ourselves."
And the flowery hat and the purple scarf woman, she'll lean a little bit further out of the carriage window and just say,
Well, the cozy nights just mean that we are more comfortable for the cold mornings. Of course.
Speaking of cold mornings, it will be morning soon. Do you mind if you give me a ride home?
Oh. But I certainly could. But what of your... I'm sure you didn't come here by yourself.
I look around and I kind of shrug. I say, "Oh, I see you have an empty seat."
For you, always.
These kids are young enough, they can make it home on their own.
Ah. Trying to lead by example, I see.
It's the most effective way.
Hasn't changed a bit. Wonderful.
Thank you, not as I say.
Oh.
and then she will lean back into the carriage, and then she will You don't see her open the door, but the carriage like just seems to open by itself, like a maw opening. And then she welcomes you in. And that's what we see as we fade to black and we close out of the cold open. Now, if I did this right, this will appear after the cold open, after the intro. Hi, I'm Mads, they, them pronouns, and I welcome you to the Between, Lilacs in the Dark. This is my new series that I will be playtesting my original Mastermind yet again. And we will also be taking for a drive Jim's playbook, The Condemned, which we'll explain more about later. But for right now, we're going to go ahead and introduce our wonderful players for this particular table. And I'm going to go left to right on my particular screen. So I'll start with Jim. All right, so if you can go ahead and introduce yourself by name, pronouns, and your particular interest in this game and experience with the Between, if any.
Yeah, sure. I'm Jim Crocker. I generally go by he, him. If you're using they, them more generically, that's totally fine with me. I have been playing Apocalypse World and related games like for many, many years. I was lucky enough to own a game store that was proximate to Vincent and Meg Baker and Epidiah Ravachol and Emily Carboss and some of those folks. So, I was playing Apocalypse World in playtest with Vincent and Meg and stuff like that, and like sold indie games for many, many years, and so I've kind of been following along with the development of a whole lot of different games, and got very interested in Brindlewood Bay when Jason came out with that, through my relationship with the Gauntlet, and followed Brindlewood Bay through the development of that. I started working on a hack of Brindlewood Bay. Then that wasn't really working, and then Jason came out with the Between, and I said, that's why my hack of Brindlewood Bay wasn't working, because it really should be a hack of the Between. So that is a game that I've been working on for quite a while. At some point, probably during the run of this game, that will go out into the world. I don't want to say too much more about it until it happens. But so I am like deeply enmeshed in it. I've written stuff for the Between. Like we said, I'm playing this playtest. I like got a runner up in one of the threat writing contests, and all that sort of thing. Really, really, really looking forward to this. Just very excited to finally. I've never played a full campaign of it, and so Mads, when you said you were going to be doing this, I jumped right on board before I even knew that I was going to be playing with three people who I like a lot, and I just am have played with before, and deeply, deeply fortunate to be playing again. And I just want to say that cold open, wow, that was amazing. I hats off to you. That was fantastic.
Oh, Jim, you're gonna break my heart even without even starting the whole series yet. Dang. Okay, and that hint at your upcoming game, I'm going to probably start a series of that too. So dang it.
Yeah, I mean your name's going to be in it because you helped me play test it. So yeah,
I know it's so good. It's awesome. All right, next on the docket, Clint.
Hello, I am Clint. I've played in a bunch of these games. I'm a big fan of CFB. I enjoy the playtesting bits and I enjoy trying new things out. So I'm excited to help Mads out with that. I too have never finished a game or a campaign of The Between. And the last time we played, I was the mother and I got all of my body parts and we never played again. I never got to make that roll. such is life sometimes. But this time I'm excited to do a full one, and I know that this crew will see it through. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
I'm horrified. As a mother who did get to complete an arc, I'm completely horrified for you. I'm so sorry.
It was many years ago. I'm okay now.
Okay. We will complete this. God dang it, we will. Oh my gosh. All right. Next up, Kim.
Hi, my name is Kim. My pronouns are she or they. I have been lucky enough to play a bunch of Brindlewood, but never actually played the Between ever. Um, that's about it. Clint, I will do my very best to get to that final role for myself, but also for you. I'm here because I think Mads is brilliant, and I'm really excited to play with everyone.
And you're going to break hearts with Jim.
I will do my very best.
Awesome. And last but not least, Mike.
Hey folks, my name is Mike, pronouns are he, him. Yeah, I've also kind of got onto the ground floor of Brindlewood Bay. So I was pretty heavily involved in the Gauntlet when Jason launched that game. I've GM'd a full campaign of Brindlewood Bay. I have played through full campaigns of a couple of other Carved from Brindlewood games. I've played through a full campaign of Public Access, which just wrapped up about a month ago. I played through a full campaign of Daniel Quall's White Mountain Rescue, which was still in playtest at the time. That's come out. I'm in a playtest of Jim's game X Capes. We're probably like maybe 3 or 4 sessions from completion. That game's been going on for that one's been going on for over a year. I'm really looking forward to like probably having my character like burn out in a blaze of glory. We'll see what happens. I've played the Between as a one shot like 2 or 3 times, but I've never played a full campaign of the Between. I've played with Mads before. I've played with Jim before, and when Mads said that they were looking for players for a full campaign of the Between, I was like, sign me up. I am very, very excited to play and really looking forward to this.
Awesome. And I welcome you all to this table. And just to complete the set, I have played in both seasons of the Shadow Society series that appears on Jason Cordova's YouTube channel of The Between. I actually came to the Gauntlet for Brindlewood Bay, but stayed for The Between, which had started off as a 4-shot and turned into a complete 12 session series, and completed the character. And then Dr. Marissa Noble still is very near and dear to my heart. And then had a second season which didn't quite finish, so my poor legacy, Artemis Everly Gray, lives on in my series of The Between, that several of them have her appearing in The Void. So if you know about that, then you'll be able to see her there. Yeah, so I have run several series of The Between on my YouTube channel, and have enjoyed the experience ever since. And this is the second, again, as I've said, of 2 playtests of my original Mastermind. So we'll see how this goes. The current one, Secrets in Lavender, is partially way through their series. So, and again, as we well know, the table really determines the flavors of how these turn out. So I'm always excited to see what the characters do, how the threats change, and how the Mastermind reacts to the different hunters of Hargrave House. For every game of Carved from Brindlewood, and for every game that I run, we usually go into review of CATS and safety. So CATS is concept, aim, tone, and subject matter. So let's see. Going into this concept. The Between is a tabletop role-playing game about a group of mysterious monster hunters in Victorian-era London. These hunters learn about various monstrous threats in the city and conduct investigations, or hunts, in order to neutralize them. Over time, they become aware of the plans of a criminal mastermind who is pulling the strings behind the scenes. These hunters will eventually be forced to confront this criminal mastermind in order to save Queen and country. The Between is directly inspired by the TV show Penny Dreadful, but also takes inspiration from British horror classics, the works of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, pulp-era media, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and From Hell. The game's mechanics are based on Apocalypse World and Brindlewood Bay. Players don't need to know anything about these two games before playing. The aim. The aim of the characters in the story is to keep London safe by investigating monstrous threats and learning how to stop them. Players aim to learn more about these characters' mysterious pasts, as well as to paint a vivid picture of their version of Victorian-era London, a responsibility all players have. The aims for the first session are to create and introduce the characters, learn the basics of how the game works by playing it, and then having a debrief period at the end. The tone. The tone of The Between is dark, mysterious, and sensual. A little bit of levity or humor from time to time is okay, but you should always strive to return to that dark, brooding place the characters exist in. Subject matter. Murder, cannibalism, body horror, dark sexual themes, erotic sensuality, threats to animals and children, foul language, blasphemy, witchcraft, and defiling graves and corpses are all things that come up frequently in this game. This game deals with dark and intense subject matter. That said, we will review safety tools available to all of us at the table to keep the game fun and accessible for everyone, including me as keeper. We generally have X-Card, Open Door, Script Change, and Lines and Veils. So we do have a safety tab, and the safety tab contains our Lines and Veils. Lines are things that we will not include in the game whatsoever, marked as lines, and then things that are marked as veils will be things that can be mentioned, but we will not role play fully out, or, very limited, and we will fade to black on as soon as we possibly can. Okay? Let's see what we have. Just making sure that I won't necessarily read them out, but this is a living document. So at any point, we can add to these. We can upgrade a veil to a line, or an ask first to a veil, or something that is of interest to an ask first. Any of those things can be upgraded. All that we ask is that something that is already marked as a line does not get downgraded, or such and so forth. Okay. X-Card is another safety tool that we have available to us. So at any point, if something becomes objectionable in an unfun way, or even if something goes a little veering off of tone, we can always X-Card, which stops play, and we can say, all right, this is what we need to X-Card, we need to take out of the game, and then we will continue play from there. We will never ask why something needs to be X-Carded. Okay? Script change includes the words pause, which pause, just kind of checking in. Is this okay? Like just making sure like everything's okay, like, just kind of like taking a breather for a second. Rewind. Oh, I didn't really like what I did in that particular moment. Can we just rewind back to a point before that? Fast forward. We don't really need to role play that fully out. Let's go ahead and just fast forward. Let's go ahead and do a time jump. So, simple. And then we have Open Door. So for any reason, if you gotta leave to answer the door, or you gotta feed the cats, something like that, just, okay, gotta step away, just let us know that you're stepping away for the scene, for a moment, what have you. All right, go ahead and do that. Or if you decide at any point this is not the game for you, that is perfectly fine, saying that you need to open door out of the game. Just let us know that, like, whether you're coming back or not. We will never ask you again why you are open dooring, okay? So those are the safety tools available to all of our players, including myself. All right. And we also have, as a note, in our safety tab, a romance plot consent relationship. So romance with PCs, are you a yes, or ask first, no, whatever. Romance with NPCs, same deal. And any notes or preferences that me as the keeper or the other players need to be aware of, again, on a living document. If this changes for any reason whatsoever, please make a note of it. And if you make any changes whatsoever on this document, including myself, then please, like, let's go over this in the beginning of the session, or make note of it whenever a change has been made, and just call attention to it. It's like, oh, by the way, there's been a change made, and you don't have to be the one that's what's it. If you notice a change has been made, just call attention to it and said, hey, a change has been made. Let's take a look. Great. Okay. Let's look out for each other. It's perfectly fine. All right. So, all right. And that is cats and safety. All right. Awesome. Any questions whatsoever? Okay. Awesome. All right, cool. Now, I had the players take a look at the characters at a time, like choices for playbooks. Playbooks are essentially the archetypes of the between, like picking who you want to play, what kind of character you want to be in the between. And they've picked their characters, and we will go over them. We will be introduced to these characters, and we will be finishing off character creation by a process known as filling in the personal quarters. But let's find out about these characters first, okay? So I will be reading a blurb at the beginning of each of these characters, and then I will ask each of you to introduce the rest. Your name, your pronouns, your vice, and anything else you'd like to mention about your character before we say what would be in your personal quarters. Okay? So, let's start with the American. So, you grew up in a big city on the eastern seaboard of the United States, the scion of a prominent family, but you detested that life. The formality, the pretension, the venomous hypocrisy, and so you went west. You had adventures, got good with a gun, even joined a traveling show for a time, but then came the curse and everything changed. You did your best to control it, and some nights were definitely worse than others, but eventually it got to be too much. Even your days were affected by the changes within you. Your behavior became reckless and unpredictable, and then you had to run, far away. In the end, it was London calling, a thick, throbbing mass of humanity within which to lose yourself, the whole world and its lovely pleasures right within your grasp. But the curse has found you, like it always does. Hopefully these new folks, these hunters you've thrown in with, can help you for good, permanent-like, when the time comes. Mike, please introduce us to the American.
I will be playing Wild Rose Larabee. Rose has light brown. She's got like long, straight, light brown hair. She wears about down to her shoulders. She does not look like she belongs in London. She walks around. She walks around with a 10-gallon hat with feathers in it, like a rattlesnake tail hanging off of it. She wears ostentatious-looking crocodile boots with silver and lapis. And instead of a greatcoat, she walks around with like a Mexican-style poncho most of the time. It's mostly, looks like it was made in the Southwest by Native Americans. Woven wool. It's mostly red with black diamonds.
Anything you want to mention about a move or anything like that?
Yeah. So, if she's been, if you've seen her at Hargrave House, you've probably seen her sitting at one of the tables. With one of her guns. She is very meticulous about her guns and is regularly, cleaning it, oiling it, taking it apart, putting it back together. She and every once in a while she goes into an alley and does some target practice. Yeah, she's generally She's one of those people that perhaps talks a little too loud most of the time. Doesn't seem to mind calling attention to herself.
Okay. Good to know. All right, given that, what do we think is in Rose's personal quarters? Ms. Larabee, excuse me.
Oh, and I did want to say the move I took was fastest gun on the west, so I have a revolver that is basically always in my personal quarters, and I can use to take advantage and not have to mark it.
But what do we think is in the personal quarters?
I have something. I think Larabee has a very distinctive melody she whistles.
I think that Larrabee has a poster from the traveling show she was in with a very distinct bullet hole in it.
You've got a native clubs with a single old, like a dried old blood stain on it, like a single drop of blood that Bill Hickok was supposedly holding in his hand when he got shot.
You have a boot knife, and there is a particular symbol on the pommel nut, that it's not yours. It's somebody else's. And it's up to you to determine what that symbol is and who it belongs to. Oh, and I apologize for not mentioning this earlier. So personal quarters items can be used mechanically, but you will always have them on your, like, in your quarters. You can think about them. You can, like, kind of like have them on your person or what have you, but they don't necessarily have to be always portable. Okay. They can be used mechanically towards a roll, but once you mark them, you can't unmark them unless you take that particular advancement. But even when you mark them, they will always be with you unless something disastrous happens, in which case you break it or lose it. But, that'll be up to me, depending on how bad your roll is. So, all right. Unless it's, of course, the Navy revolver with the particular move that you have, Rose. So, anyway. Next, the Explorer. You were born into a world of fantastic wealth and privilege. You could have spent your days cosseted by luxury, with nothing more pressing than deciding what to wear to that evening's dinner party. But you chose a different life. You chose to serve your queen. You leveraged your wealth and connections to explore the world, to chart unknown territory. And now you have a mountain range named after you, a fitting honor considering you tower over other Britons. Your strength, your intellect, your cunning, none can match it. None except the Mastermind. The Mastermind who plots ceaselessly against Her Majesty, whose mind and resources dwarf your own. You have conquered every trial the gods have placed before you, but the Mastermind is something altogether different. And your new work, your work with Hargrave House, is connected to them in some way. You spend your days and nights exploring the true heart of darkness, the monsters that stalk the streets of London, but none are so monstrous as your opponent, the one who sits on the other side of the chessboard. Will Great Britain still be standing when the grand game is over? Clint, please introduce us to the Explorer.
We have Lady Rosamond Ross Carter. She is in her 60s, but she looks significantly older. She has some more mileage with her. She has jewelry and a long black fur scarf, and always has muddy boots on, as if she's always ready to go. Her vice is to humiliate her wrestlers, which I'm sure we will find out more about as we go. I have the two moves that the Explorer has, the Grand Game and the Royal Explorers Club. Anything else?
Nothing yet? I mean, unless there's something else that you'd like to mention, but...
Not yet.
Okay. Okay. All right, so, knowing these things, what do we think is in Lady Ross Carter's personal quarters? Again, it does not have to be portable. It just has to be what we think is in their room.
A stack of still sealed marriage proposals that she never even bothered to open. Sorry, I guess we didn't establish whether you're currently married. You know what? Doesn't matter, actually. We'll play to find out.
You have... Oh, go on.
Go, Mike.
Okay. I think you've got a highly detailed set of maps of your your various explorations, including a detailed geological survey map of the mountain range that was named after has been named after you.
I think you have a almost comically large sacrificial dagger that's heavily ornamented and very clearly has been used and not cleaned since.
So specifically a decorative dagger or ornamental, is that the word you use?
Decorated. It is ornate, I guess.
Oh, and the one thing that I kept on forgetting to say is that you, as the person who's putting this in your personal quarters, have veto or, adjustment power over the item. So, if it's not quite to your liking, you can fix it if you need to. Perfectly fine. Okay? What do I give you as an explorer? That you don't already have. Rich and knowledgeable as you are.
What do you buy someone who has everything?
Exactly. What kind of gift could you possibly want, Mondi? Oh, I know. This is something specifically from Rose. This is a pin, a brooch, actually. This is a rose. And it is... The stem is made of emeralds. The bud is made of rubies. And it is a brooch that is old. It is from childhood. Yeah. It was given to you when you were friends. And you still have it. But whether you tell Pemberton Potts that you still have it, that's up to you.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. Next, the mother. Few understand the mysteries of human anatomy like you do. You are one of the most brilliant medical minds in London, and could take your place as a lecturer at any number of esteemed academies. But you have different ideas, different plans. You are no longer interested in merely preserving life, but creating it. And so you'll do what you must to survive, tending to the prostitutes dying of consumption, assisting Scotland Yard with grisly forensic inquiry, and creeping about in the dark with these new people, these hunters with whom you share a home. But always you are focused on the new life growing in your secret womb, your child, the one you hope will capture even the faintest reflection of the person you loved and lost. Kim, please introduce us to your mother.
I will be playing Dr. Elinor Whitford, occasionally disparagingly known as Dr. Hawk. She has a great deal of hair pinned very severely back. See, she spends a lot of time with dead bodies, and her vice will be watching people eat. She'll usually decline to eat in front of you, but is always happy to join you for a meal. I don't remember if I already said pronouns. Pronouns are she or her. I think that's it.
All right. So, knowing these things, what do we think is in the mother's personal quarters? Dr. Whitford's personal quarters.
An open invitation to a private supper club. Very exclusive, with a like a highly regarded French chef.
I think you have an acceptance letter to submit a paper to a new medical journal.
I'm going to go for the obvious answer. You've got a doctor's black bag.
To go along with that black bag, I think you have a roll of pretty nasty looking surgical tools. Really sharp and pointy looking. And you can describe whenever you use them, it's like exactly what's in them. Bone saws and scalpels and all that. So, all right. And last, but not least, we've got the condemned. In the distant past, you committed a sin utterly unforgivable, a sin that closed the gates of the afterlife forever and damned you to walk the earth for eternity, never to know the solace of the grave, always to be reminded of your transgression. You spent decades, centuries, millennia searching for redemption, for a loophole, for a secret that has never revealed itself. The world spins on. People are born and live and love and pass. But you are condemned to remain ever in place. Will you ever find the means to escape the prison of your existence? Or will you finally accept your fate and embrace your punishment? Jim, please introduce us to your condemned.
Yeah, the condemned this is a playbook that I concocted to kind of do the like sad immortal trope, right? You're like Cain from Lucifer, or maybe like a little bit of like the Phantom Stranger from DC Comics, or the Hobgadling character from Sandman, something like that. And so my name is Jack, and that's all anybody knows me as is Jack. And I was at Hargrave House when you guys got here, and it's not clear how long I've been hanging around Hargrave House. It might have been for quite a while. I don't seem to have any particular job that anyone can discern and stuff, but you would have come to know very quickly that, my curse is that when I die, I don't stay dead. My playbook move is called No Rest, which means, unlike other characters, I can take a condition, which is deceased. But then, I can clear that condition at some point, based on stuff that happens in the story, or as when Mads thinks it's an interesting time for that to happen. The other move that I have is called Marked by Death. And what that means is that for anybody who can perceive it, they can see that I have been marked in some way that indicates I have committed this sin, that I am, kind of being watched by the powers that be. And anybody that kind of has truck with powers of darkness, or, holy powers and stuff like that, they will recognize me. They will know what my curse is. And I can use that as leverage when I'm negotiating with them.
Awesome. Knowing that, what do we think is in the condemned's personal quarters?
And if it's helpful, the picture that I've chosen for myself is Tom Hardy from the series Taboo, which, if any of you have seen Taboo, so it's Tom Hardy looking like, ratty, scarred, scar down one eye, kind of, just a plain, like a muslin shirt, holding, a delicate little teacup as he's about to sip it. So it's kind of the mode that I'm in. Oh, and my vice is origami, which I learned how to do somewhere, and we'll use it to occupy myself.
I think you've got. I think you've got a Roman gladius short sword, like actual Roman.
I think you have a tattoo on your neck that is not one that is often seen in London in this time period. Perhaps it's one that is a little scary for people to see.
I phrase that as tattoo from a distant land on my neck. Does that? Yeah. Okay.
I'm thinking Vermeer, but it could really be anybody of that period. But you have a very small oil painting, probably of a woman, or probably of a person.
Okay. Small Vermeer oil portrait is what it sounds like. Yeah.
Along the same lines, I think you have what is it called? Oh, it's like a silk covered and a silk lined, it's silk covered and silk lined box. It's a delicate little box that holds your origami papers.
Okay.
And has origami paper in it already, but I mean,
Yeah,
it's
sure.
just small and delicate looking.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna call that an origami kit, I think.
Yeah.
Silk covered and lined origami kit.
Yeah. So we have filled the characters' personal quarters. We've been introduced to them, and basically we're going to take our first break. Well deserved. So we're going to take 10 minutes, and then when we come back, we will go on with our series, with our session. All right. So, all right. So we know that Lady Ross Carter has hitched a ride home and is probably safely ensconced in Hargrave House. But how the heck do the others make their way home? And when?
I'm certainly going to stick around and wait for Jack to reanimate.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea that we draw a little crowd, people saying, oh, like he's, who are confused about why you guys aren't like peeling me up off of the pavement. And they're sitting around talking and stuff, until at one point, like I do the like shudder, gasp, and sit up, like kind of like looking a little confused, not quite sure who I am for a second. And then I see that the doctor is there. Um, and I kind of like sort of put a hand on her shoulder for a moment just to sort of steady myself. And I said to her, how long, doctor?
The usual.
All right. And I kind of reach around and like I sort of like there's like a little kind of a like kind of a crunch and a sort of a little like wet squelch as I sort of adjust something so that it grows back properly, where like my something in my skull. Um uh
Oh, here,
uh
let me get that out for you. And there's probably like a piece of gravel
yeah,
embedded that
yeah,
you're
there we
trying to
go.
heal around.
Exactly. Yes, yeah. Yeah. And I kind of like grit my teeth. Thank you. You would think after as many times as that has happened that it would become less disorienting, but I regret that it does not.
Ms. Larabee, are you there to witness this, and have you seen this before as well?
I I want to say that Rose has seen this before a couple of times. And she's not terribly impressed with it at this point. So I think that so I think like once she sees that the doctor is there, like waiting for the corpse of Jack to reanimate, she tips her hat to the doctor, and says, "I'll see you back. Guess I'll see you back at the house." And then she turns and she just like walks into the walks into the streets of London. I think Rose is going. I think if we like briefly see a little scene of Rose, she's in a tavern. Yeah, she's in a tavern. I think she's playing some. She's playing cards and is probably on her third bourbon.
As well she would be by this point, I'm sure. When you and Jack make your way home, Doctor, um, where do you go? What do you do? Or do you tend to Jack? Or is this just kind of like, it's old hat by now, and then he'll do his thing, I'll do mine, and then you know, we'll just reconvene whenever.
Though I would die before I'd admit it, I appreciate the Jack is parachute gig, so I will return to the house with him.
Oh, nice. Okay. All right. So, at some point, do we think that you all convene together, or are you still all doing your own thing by, say, mid-morning?
Rose would have gone back to the house probably like well after midnight, but she would have made her way back to Hargrave House. I think she would have just. I mean, honestly, I think she would have just walked. And if anybody gave her trouble, well, that would have been a bad choice on their part.
I mean, this would have been like, like for the next morning is basically what I'm saying. Like right after the rubble at St. James's Street.
I think she got back. I think Rose would have gotten back to Hargrave House. I don't know, sometime between midnight and 2 a.m.
Okay.
Would have stumbled up to her room and gone to bed.
Okay. And then the Doctor and Jack. What do you think? Made your way home. Pardon.
I think I've lost a little bit of the timeline. At what point in the day did we defeat the ghost?
Well, it was night phase when you went to go, take care of the ghost. So, say any time between 10 and midnight maybe. And then, yeah.
I imagined we were both unharassed for different reasons on our way home.
Okay.
I'm probably in a part of town that I am well known to proffer medical services to, and I've gone home to clean my gold teeth.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha.
So you'll probably find me sitting at breakfast, not consuming anything.
I think Lady Rose Carter is sitting at the same table
Oh.
with Elinor, and she's slowly stirring a cup of tea in a ceramic mug, so it's getting that nice little slow clinking sound.
And can we establish whether do we have like a cook at Hargrave House? Do we have a butler or anything like that, or we kind of do our own thing, or is that a bit of fiction that we can decide on?
I would like you to decide on the fiction. Would you like some help that gets scared away, or would you like some permanent help that conveniently ignores this kind of thing?
I would love for us to have, like a tough as nails kind of Scottish, woman, like middle-aged, like big dowdy middle-aged Scottish woman who, is the housekeeper, is the Alice to our weird Brady Bunch, right? And she
Clean up those boots, Jack.
Exactly, yes, yeah. So she will she does the stuff that she's paid for, but not like absolutely not anything she's not paid for. But so she is, Jack is sitting there at the table with the others, and she has laid out like 2 plates of English breakfast, right? You know, like the beans and the blood sausage and all that kind of stuff. And Jack is just like shoveling it into his mouth because, you know, clearly whatever, like, you know, the getting killed seems to take it out of him. And so he is like, you know, just kind of like, well, you know, and kind of talking around, you know, whatever, like, you know, juice
Don't
coming
talk with
down
your
his
mouth
chin and
full,
stuff like that.
Jack.
And he says, well, Mrs. McGarrity, my enthusiasm for your breakfast compels me to not stop between words.
Chewing is loving.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about choking on it. So, yes. Thank you, Mrs. McGarrity.
You're welcome. And how about you? Dr. Whitford, you don't be eating. Come on now.
I had some toast before everyone got down, but thank you for your concern.
Victuals going to waste. Blah.
Not with Jack around.
True.
I will have hers if you make her some.
Ugh, fine. Ugh.
I think Rose is the last to come downstairs. You know, she looks like she probably would like more sleep, but you know, the day beckons, and you know, she sits down and you know, you know, has a sip of tea and looks at Mrs.
McGarrity.
I'm sorry, Mrs. McGarrity.
Do you have tea, or does Mrs. McGarrity make coffee for you?
I was going to say
McGarrity gives you a big heaping mug of coffee.
I was going to say I was going to say I wanted to know if she had coffee, or if this was like an ongoing gag that, you know, Rose really wants coffee and McGarrity doesn't approve of coffee.
Oh no! But basically, the joke is this: the joke is like, you know, she'll slide the cup of tea at you, but then she'll look at your face and then, fine, and then she'll, like, you know, hand you the mug of coffee.
Excellent.
Yeah.
What you be wanting?
She glances over at what Jack's eating and says, "I'll have one of those, but I only need one plate."
And then she immediately pulls out the plate because she knew you were gonna have it. Yeah, for sure.
It's on the little push cart.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep. And then she just double checks with like Lady Ross Carter, and then she's a little bit more deferential to Lady Ross Carter than she is with the rest of y'all.
And I say, I would like my normal beans and toast, please.
Of course, Lady Ross Carter, of course.
And then, like, you know, it's more decoratively arranged on the plate, so it's not just like slop that's been slapped on there.
Been garnished with
yes,
parsley. Yeah.
yes, like there maybe some parsley or whatever, like, you know, just so it's prettier looking, you know. It's like, you know, like the secret is, it's like, you know, she's actually served in probably like the Royal Explorers Club or like a fancier hotel restaurant, but like nobody knows that.
I
You know?
I stole her away.
You did. You probably did. But yeah. But she dresses like a regular, like, middle class woman or something like that. And you would never suspect that she has served in probably some of the finest restaurants, like, you know, around London.
And I think I hired her because I knew she would be respectful to me and probably give other people a hard time.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. It's like she's got that kind of manner, like no nonsense, no bullshit, and she's gonna give it to everybody else, but then she'll, like, you know, treat you with the utmost deference. Absolutely.
So I think Rose takes a big swig of coffee, smiles and nods, and just says, "Mrs. McGarrity, you make one damn fine cup of coffee."
And then she just kind of swings her square head at you and then says,
Of course, miss. Of course. Indubitably so.
and then at that, Ding 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 ding.
Should someone answer that?
Who the hell's calling this time of day?
It's probably like 10 a.m. in the morning.
And
I assume Miss McGarrity is not in any
Oh
way
no,
a door
she
answer.
is.
Okay.
She looks at you all and she says, "You better not be expecting me to answer that."
and like Jack does a thing where like he you know kind of does one of these with his sleeve, and he hops up and he says, last time it was a bomb, so I'll go check. And he walks over to the door and he just kind of throws it open.
I will follow
And-
behind and go. And the time before that, it was a well-bred lady. So
Yeah.
I mean, wait. So is it only Jack that answers the door, or do you go follow him, Dr. Whitford?
I think she's right over my shoulder, right? Is what you're saying? Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's cute. All right, awesome. Okay. Sorry, I'm just like, wait, who's going where? Okay, great. Sorry.
it was a bomb last time, and then the time before, Jack terrified a young lady.
Oh my gosh.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
great. Okay, so wait. Let me
Rose,
just. Go ahead.
Stays at the breakfast table and continues to have breakfast because the doorbell rang like 90 seconds after she started eating.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. And I'm sure like Lady Roscar doesn't give a shit. It's absolutely fine.
It's just a doorbell.
Yes, exactly. Of course.
Someone will answer.
Someone will answer it. Yeah. And then I just want to establish something before you answer the door. How tall is everybody? Jack, how tall are you?
I am I'm Tom Hardy height, which puts me about 6 feet, something like that. Let me take a look. I'll bet you I can tell.
Elinor, Dr. Whitford, how tall are you?
Oh, actually, Tom Hardy's 5'9". So, yeah, I'm of average height, a little thickly built. Yeah.
Okay. Dr. Whitford?
Slightly smaller. I can accidentally be hidden behind probably any other character. Unless Lady Ross, for some reason, I got a fairly solid Lady Ross Carter and Wild Rose vibe, and I want to be obscurable by all other characters.
Yeah, I think Lady Ross Carter is she's not big, but she's tall. She's probably like 6'1", which is pretty imposing.
Yes. Okay. And Larabee?
So Rose is I think she's taller than I think she's a bit taller than average, especially she's taller than average for like, Victorian era women.
She's also American.
She's also American. So she's probably like 5'8".
Okay, great. So let's call Dr. Whitford a nice average 5'5". So that keeps her shorter than everybody else, but then yet, relatively average. So, given that, what you see first when you answer the door is this beautiful bouquet of flowers. It's held up to you, and then you see behind the bouquet, you see this flowered hat of purple and red and maybe pale cream. And then there's also like a scarf like wrapped around it. And then you realize it's a smallish woman, like probably like short, like 5 foot maybe, or possibly even shorter. And then the bouquet comes down, and then you see this gentle elderly face like looking out at you. And she goes,
Oh, how wonderful. Hello, I am your neighbor, Miss Pemberton Potts. I wanted to bring over this lovely bouquet that I have. I am also acquainted with your patron, I believe, Lady Ross Carter. I just wanted to come and say hello. How are you?
And Jack just steps back and says, as it happens, Lady Ross Carter is in residence right now. Lady Ross Carter, you have a visitor, a guest, and
Oh,
I just sort of step back and I like make a sweeping gesture, like, please come in.
thank you, thank you, thank you. But I also seem to recognize you as someone who comes and goes.
Looking at you, Jack.
That is true. I do come and go.
She recognizes you as someone who occasionally visits the Little Blackbirds Inn. Was or is your comforting draw to that establishment for respite as an inn or with one of the escorts?
I think it's as an inn because I've been going there for centuries. It's gone a little downhill over the years, but I've accumulated many memories in that place, and so it is it's the place and being somewhere that's that's got some actual history to it. I'm deeply disinterested in the escorts, like people like I don't, that's not a thing I'm interested in.
Which is probably why you don't know what's happened. But she will tell you.
Well, that's good to know, because I am aware of the business that this is Hargrave House. Yes?
Yes.
I am aware of the business that Hargrave House conducts, and I have some business that I'd like to
Then you'll
share.
understand why we don't want to conduct that business out here in the street. Please come
Absolutely.
inside.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
And yeah, when you show her in, and where do you show her? Do you
Close the door?
Yeah.
Behind her. I just I just kind of wave her through into the dining room where Lady Ross Carter is.
Okay, so you're conducting business in the dining room. Okay, what an improvement. Okay.
Morning.
Good morning. How are you, Lady Ross Carter?
I say, did you forget something here last night?
No, absolutely not. I just wanted to drop by and share this beautiful bouquet that I created this morning.
Oh, you created that. Are you a horticulturist?
You know that my hobby is flowers, dear.
Well, it's quite impressive. Quite impressive.
Rhododendrons.
Rhododendrons and begonias, and she places it right on the table and slides it towards you.
She says, are these for me or for the
Yes.
house?
Well, for all. For all.
I pick up a little bell and I ring it for, I'm blanking on her name already.
Mrs. McGarrity.
Mrs. McGarrity. And I say, here, make sure these get water and proper sunlight, and probably put them near a window so it shows that we have some life in here.
As you will, ma'am. As you will.
And then she'll take the big bouquet and then bring it into the kitchen and do what she will.
Thank you, McGarrity. It's quite nice.
So I see you have McGarrity. Fine taste.
The best.
Of course. The best for you. But I do have business. I do have business with Hargrave House in general.
Oh,
I take it you are helming this concern right now, Lady Ross Carter.
we have no boss. You're all here to serve. Is Larabee still around?
Is Larabee still in the kitchen, or?
Rose was still in. I think Rose was still in the dining room.
Okay.
And Rose would have, Ms. Larabee would have, she would have stood up as soon as a guest came in, because she may be an American, but that does not mean she's completely uncouth. Yeah, she would have stood up and oddly, she would have taken off her hat and bowed in the way a man would.
Well, it appears we're all here, so you have all of our attention.
Well, I thank you very much.
Well, I guess I should probably ask you if you would like to sit down. Is that something we do here? And I look to our other teammates here.
I was just going to ask if she wanted to join us for breakfast.
Oh, I've already had a little bit of repast. I do appreciate, though, your attention. I will take a seat, though. I do have some strange news to bring, and I can only hope that you're able to help.
I ring the bell for Miss McGarrity again to come and possibly bring you some tea.
And then I think even before you finish ringing the bell, I think like Mrs. McGarrity has started rolling out the little cart with the little tea service and everything, and with a just an extra cup, and then she'll pour out the service, and then Rose.
We've got some coffee too, if you'd prefer.
And Mrs. Pemberton Potts will just kind of look and say,
"No, tea is quite fine, but thank you. Appreciate it."
And
I am Mrs. Pemberton Potts. I am your neighbor from down the street. I'm back from a very long trip abroad, just recently returned. But again, I heard some strange news from my acquaintance at the Little Blackbirds Inn on Primrose Hill.
And she kind of takes a surreptitious look over at Jack and then kind of returns to all of you.
My acquaintance, the manageress, the proprietor, Mother Mallory, had told me that one of her regular patrons, Lord Philip Brookmead, was found dead this morning in his usual room at the inn. What was odd was the manner and how he was found. His body was hollowed out, with branches growing where his heart should have been.
I raise an eyebrow and look at Dr. Whitford, and I say, Dr. Whitford, is that covered in any of your anatomy texts?
Shockingly, no. I don't encounter a lot of people turning their organs into plants.
Yeah, that's mighty odd.
You have
Has
our
this
attention.
happened at the establishment before?
No, absolutely not. It was quite shocking, as you can imagine, to have found his body like that. Again,
Did you find the body?
no.
Or have you seen the body?
I have not seen the body. I was told this when I had come round to, again, visit with my friend. I just must mention, of course, that this is a business that is not only an inn, but they have a concern. They have a sideline business for a place of folks that come and go.
Prostitutes, says Jack. There are prostitutes there as well. We're not shocked by such things, ma'am.
Yeah, Rose just shrugs her shoulders and finishes that mug of coffee, glances over at Mrs. McGillicuddy or Mrs. I keep wanting to call her Mrs. McGillicuddy.
McGarrity.
And raises an eyebrow as if to say might I have another cup, please?
And well, they just really rely on the clients having.
Well, I can see why you might not want to call Scotland Yard to such a place.
Correct. They depend on the utmost discretion, as you can imagine. So.
Well, we have certainly investigated weirder stuff than that.
I must tell you that my friend, the proprietor, Mother Mallory, believes it was another patron who had perpetrated this, not one of her own employees. She would like it confirmed to prevent her house from being shut down. But, again, I would like to ferret out the truth, but I would like to just use my influence to prevent Scotland Yard from digging too deeply, keeping their nose out of it for as long as I can.
So you speak of the truth, Pemberton Potts. When was this last night? You mentioned none of this.
You seem to be otherwise distracted. I was not going to mention anything, especially when I had only found out about it this morning.
At this moment, I look at the other people in the room and I say, this fine lady drove me home last night after we were finished with the ghost, and I am shocked that she did not inform me of this.
Well, she did just say she only found out this morning. Ma'am, what was the name of the dead guy again?
Lord Philip Brookmead, a not inconsiderable peer.
And I kind of just throw a quick glance over to the doctor and I say, and is the body still there?
Yes, they didn't know exactly what to do with it, of course.
Well, if you can get in touch with them, tell them not to move it or otherwise molest it.
Of course. I can send word ahead. But again, I can send my influence to keep this quiet for at least a few days, to prevent your investigation from being interfered with.
Lady Ross Carter, this person of your acquaintance, do you trust her?
I look at you and I look directly at Pemberton Potts as I address the doctor. I say, once upon a time I would have said yes, but over the last few decades, I tend to think no. But, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. It's been many years. Perhaps she has changed. Perhaps she is worthy of some consideration.
It's been many years, and we have both been well-traveled, distantly from each other, so I understand where trust has eroded. Just like the mountain range that you're named after.
I see you know where to hit where it hurts.
Just as you do too, my old friend. But
So I look back at my compatriots and I say, well, whether or not I like this lady or not doesn't change the fact that there is a body with plants growing out of it we should probably at least take a look at.
I have treated some of the girls at Little Blackbird, not Little Blackbird, Little Blackbird.
Little Blackbirds, yes.
Little Blackbirds Inn. They know me there. If you would like to stay here and catch up with your old friend, I'm happy to head over with whichever of y'all want to come.
I'm a regular there, not for the business in the back, but because, I've been a regular there for quite a while.
It is an inn, just as it has its own other business, of course. So it's quite lovely. But
again, don't think I've been that particular place, but I know the kind of place. And at that Rose sighs, and after Mrs. McGarrity had refilled her coffee mug, without meaning to draw attention to it, but at the same time not really hiding it, Rose pulls out Rose produces a hip flask, like flips the top open, puts like glug glug, pours glug glug into her coffee, like reseals the flask, puts it back in her pocket, and takes a big swig of it. Yeah, once we sounds like we've got more business. No rest for the wicked, I guess.
That is your threat. 4 to start. The question, actually, there's 2 questions. You have the first question is the killer, one of the other patrons or one of the escorts? Hopefully this pastes, and if it doesn't, then we're just going to type it in. Give me a second. Ah, good. Okay. Is the killer one of the other patrons or one of the escorts? This is a complexity 4. And you're going to resolve the threat by laying a trap for the perpetrator and catching or dispatching them. The other question that is available to you that doesn't necessarily have to do with the resolution of the threat itself, but gets you a custom move, is how was the killer able to use the power of nature to murder Lord Brookmead while everyone was at the house? And that's also a complexity 4. Answering this question unlocks the custom move, the Forest Sense. Come on. There we go.
And is this one of those things where that's essentially an optional question?
That is.
Okay. So we can, if basically we pursue that if we want that custom move, but we don't have to resolve the threat.
Correct.
Got it.
But the custom move could be very helpful, especially considering that this particular mastermind has a lot of botanical connections.
I was about to say the C move, but I would like to say something strong about how incredibly poisonous, and warn the housekeeper that those are some very poisonous flowers we've been given, and maybe keep them out of the way of any household animals. Like I want the person who gave the flowers to know that I know they were poisonous.
I mean, right now, as far as I know, there's no household animals in Hargrave House. But, yeah.
There are rats everywhere.
Well, I mean, you know. And, yeah. That is your threat for this. Oh, and there's also a time limit of 3 night phases.
Ooh, and it's got a custom mask, it looks like.
Yes, it is. I forgot to mention that, too. So,
excellent. Those are
custom
fun.
mask is the Mask of the Sharpened Glade. The threat mask can be activated by anyone at any time, but just realize that when you do, that gets done by everybody. Okay, so
what is the what's the what is the mask? Like what's the question we need to ask?
Hey, I can give it to you now. That's fine.
Okay.
Each hunter narrates a flashback to a time when they took a sheltered moment alone somewhere peaceful, only to be forced out of it by terrible circumstances. So, you have one contact over at the Little Blackbirds Inn right now, Mother Mallory, but there's also escorts that you can talk to, as well as patrons that you can also interview as well.
I suppose we should does Hargrave House, do we have our own carriage, or do we need to hire a hansom?
Probably need to hire a hansom. I mean, like, you know, unless you have a driver or you're going to be driving yourselves, I mean, like, you know, you don't necessarily have your own carriage.
Okay.
I mean, unless you want to establish you have a carriage driver too. I mean, it's up to you.
There's cabs all over London. That's we just walk out to the curb and just hail somebody. Yeah. Like as a player, it's not super interesting to me that we're like struggling to get transportation around London,
especially with Lady Ross Carter.
Exactly.
Here.
Yes.
I mean, I wanted to establish fictionally whether or not we had our own carriage and driver. If it was interesting, cool. If not, we'll just hire a cab.
Yeah. So you can get there any which way you like, whenever you like. Investigations begin with getting to the inn itself, and there are locations within the inn that you can investigate in and outside of the inn itself.
I would like to go visit my favorite florist. I've got plant questions. Mr. Twizzle's fine flowers.
you want to go ahead and add that to places around in the records? Do you want to go ahead and do a small paint the scene on that?
Yeah, I got you. Give me a moment.
Yep. Mr. Thistle. That's just 2 on the nose. Love it.
Come back to me on the question.
No problem. Okay, so for the rest of you, are you going directly over to Little Blackbirds, and are you going all together?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why we wouldn't just
not.
share a cab over there.
Yeah, might as well.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so the places that I can tell you are available, like right off the bat, are if you're going to go outside, you have the garden gazebo that's outside, like around the back. And then you also have, it's within the, the hedge maze that's around the back. And then you also have, like inside, you have the different, like living quarters, entertaining rooms, and card room, as well as if you go up top, there's also a rooftop terrace.
So I think Rose would, you said there was an outdoor gazebo and also a hedge maze?
Yes, to get to the garden gazebo, you have to go through the hedge maze first.
This is probably more interest. I think Rose's instinct would be to check out the exterior first.
Okay.
So if other members of the if other investigators would want to go inside and meet with our contact, I think Rose is going to like wander through the hedge maze.
All right, let's establish where everybody's going to go first. Okay, so Jack, where are you going?
I mean, Elinor has indicated that probably she's going to go in back and talk to some of the ladies.
Okay.
So I will be sorry, not to speak for you, Kim, but I mean, like you were saying before that you knew some of them, but I don't think Jack has any sort of particular contact with them other than maybe having like said hello. So like wherever the grizzled Crimean War veterans that I drink with hang out, that is where I will be. And if it's like whatever, like the pub part of the inn, or whichever location makes the most sense for that.
I think you would have gone to the card room.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to establish where everybody is first before I
go
each place.
Yeah.
All right. So Rose is going to the exterior.
Cutthroat games of bridge that we play with each other. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Dr. Whitford, you can either go to the entertaining rooms or the living quarters, or to visit with
I'd
the girls.
like to talk to the girl who found the deceased.
Okay.
In preparation for then going to the deceased. So I think that's a living quarters thing, but I'm not.
You're probably gonna want to talk to Mother Mallory first. She's
Okay.
very protective over her employees, and let's be. My Victorian England's a little bit more equal, so
Okay.
you got some male and female escorts.
I see.
Yeah.
I suspect that I would have only administered to some of the more feminine troubles of prostitutes, but
Sure.
I'll talk to the mother first.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, and then Lady Ross Carter's over at Mr. Thistle's. Rose, are you tackling the hedge maze?
Yeah, I'm going to walk through. I'm going to wander through the hedge maze, and for one, I'm going to try to go through the entire maze, including all of the dead ends, and looking for anything that might be weird.
In my head, like we see the top of the hedge maze, and just the very tippy top of your cowboy hat, like moving, like
one of the one of the eagle feathers is like sticking up.
Yeah, we see it's like bobbing through the thing. Okay. Yep. I can see that. I can totally see that. Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna give you the choice. Do you wanna find something on the way to the gazebo, or do you wanna find the gazebo first?
I think I want to methodically go through the entire. I think I want to methodically go through the entire hedge maze before I get to the center.
Okay. All right. So, like, go ahead and like roll an info move, please,
Okay.
with reason, because I mean, like, you're being very methodical about this.
Yeah,
So,
that makes sense. What is my reason? My reason is okay, so this will be a flat roll. Let's roll. That ain't good. Yeah, I got a 6.
okay, what happens to you then? Huh? Let's see. Hmm. Hmm. What did you do with that rotting hand?
I think I probably left. I think I probably more or less left it there. I don't think I took it. I don't see why. I don't see why Rose would have picked up a rotting like a rotting severed hand. I think that was a clue that was a clue for the other mystery.
Hmm.
Although if she suddenly finds it, that's weird.
Yep. For funsies, let's just say that you're methodically checking out the hedge maze, and you come upon one of the dead ends, and you see that rotting dead hand beckoning to you from the dead end.
Okay, that's weird. Um, yeah, I'm going to wear. I draw my gun and I approach
As you approach,
warily.
right, as you approach and you see this beckoning dead hand, and it's partially in the bush. It's partially in the hedge, I should say, and it looks very much like the hand that you found in the wall last night. And as you beckon, or as you come closer, you hear, Rose, 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 Rose. It sounds like a familiar voice to you. Whose voice is it? From the
I think it
past.
sounds like I think it sounds like my sister's voice. I have a younger sister who is like 6 years younger than me. Um, that was back in, you know, back where I grew up. I don't want to reveal too much of my character's backstory, but it
Yep.
sounds like my sister's voice.
Alive or dead?
I think she's alive, or at least was alive last time I checked in with my family.
Putting question mark on that.
And her name is Louise.
Okay. And I think, like, as you get closer, I think you will see that not only do you see this hand, but then you're going to see, like, eyes staring out at you from this hedge, and more eyes staring at you from this hedge.
More eyes, whole
And
bunch
then,
of eyes.
right. And then the branches, the branches from this hedge start to separate and turn into like bony fingers, like as if they're like skeleton hands, right? And then they'll reach out for you and grab you and try to pull you into the hedge.
Well, that's not creepy in the slightest.
Nope, not at all.
Um, I'm gonna. I mean, skeletal hands coming out of the bushes to try to grab me and pull me in.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh yeah, that's I pull my gun and I pull my gun and I start shooting.
Or you can use mask and make a mixed result.
I am curious. I'm gonna let that 6 stand.
You start shooting, and you hear whistles through the hedge, and you realize that you're calling a lot of attention to yourself. As you wake from some kind of hallucination and realize that the hedge has turned into like branches that have like somehow like turned back into branches, and then like you look like you're like caught up in them, like they've grabbed your poncho, like they're like, you know, all over you and such, and like you hear the whistles of the bobbies coming closer, and like on the other side of the hedge it's like, heard shots, like hunting, it shouldn't be this close, what the hell's going on, you know? And so yeah, I mean, like, you know, um they're coming closer, and you hear like running footsteps, and then like, you know, I think you see like at least two constables hove into view, like as they're running into the hedge maze. It's like, you there? Were you the one shooting? What the hell were you shooting?
I holster my gun and you know, kind of like shake out of this weird hallucination, reverie, whatever it was, and say, the accent that comes out of Rose's mouth is different than what she had. So her interactions with the Bobbies are a little different. And she says, "Oh, Constable! Oh, Constable! I'm so glad you're here. There was a, you know, there were some ruffians. They were trying to lift my purse.
One of them like
I fired some warning shots to scare them off."
One of them gets real close and goes, "Yeah, ruffians with a little bit of more booze on them, are they?" And we're going to cut over to Jack. Jack, you make your way to the card room. You know where it is.
Yes, indeed I do.
Card room is specifically for public use, holding group games of chance and luck for patron and employee alike. Paint the scene. This is for everyone. How has camaraderie been shown time and again in this room despite the competitive gaming that goes on here? Let me paste that up. Let me paste that in the chat. Give me a second. There we go. How has camaraderie been shown time and again in this room despite the competitive gaming that goes on here?
I think the rule is that no money changes hands. You can play for favors, you can play for bragging rights, you can play for drinks. But like we don't do anything so vulgar as to like, you know, like push a pile of money into the middle of the table.
I think there's a strict dress code. So if you show up without the proper attire, they have a jacket for you to wear, or a pin, something to class it up a little bit.
I think we see a table of people playing cribbage, and like one person wins, and you know, people like, you know, and the losers just kind of like fold their cards, put it down. They stand up and said, "Great game, sir! Great game!" And like, you know, they all shake the winner's hands. "That was a fine play, fine play."
They said there's a bunch of war vets here. I think that there are a couple chairs that are like closer to the fire or more comfortable, and whoever is in the worst shape, like just by silent accord, gets the most comfortable or the warmest chair.
Some of the games are being played by younger folk. You can tell that they're like maybe some of the escorts themselves that have some of the games. Maybe some escorts that are playing with their clientele. And then there is a fellow that seems to be, let's see, give me a second. There is an older gentleman, kind of portly, that seems to be playing with a younger gentleman with an elegant build, and they're kind of quietly playing. You can't quite tell what they're playing just yet. And with them is a lady who is of a more, what's the word? She's sitting straighter in her chair, as if she doesn't necessarily want to be there or want to be seen there, but yet she seems rather comfortable being there. Like she's been there before. I mean, you may have actually recognized her. Like she has been a regular, but not as frequent as you. You know.
Mhm.
So
Reticence, perhaps, is that the
yes,
word that we're? Yes, yeah,
yeah.
okay,
There you
all
go.
right, yeah.
Love that word. Okay, yeah. So those three people are at a particular table. Yep.
And so I will just walk up to the table and uh do you have established in the fiction who that older portly gentleman is, or
Yes. Mhm.
all right, okay. So I guess first question is, do I know who he is? Would I recognize him from having been a regular patron here?
Yes. Pardon. He is a regular as well, but he is of a he is a peer. He's not a just a veteran.
Mhm.
So he is a peer. He's a Lord Piers Mumford. Hmm. That he jowly, and he likes his comforts, and he
Sure.
likes coming here.
So I will just step up to the table and I will say, Your Lordship, good to see you. I cannot help but notice that your game would be greatly enhanced by a fourth.
Ah, ah. And he kind of peers at you, like as if he's like trying to place the face.
Jack, Your Lordship.
Ah,
We've played snooker before, uh, but not whist yet, alas.
well, please. And then like kind of like does that, like, please take a seat.
Yep, and and it's a thing where like I think the other thing I want to do is establish that like I walked in and they like had a jacket ready for me, right? Like a jacket and tie. Like they saw me coming and they like pulled out the jacket in my size that
Hmm.
clearly, fits me
They knew.
perfectly that I've worn many times because like I never come in with my own jacket, right? And it's like and I've got a tie that's like already tied that I just throw over my neck and a cravat or whatever and do one of those and so when I sit down I've actually got the jacket on and stuff like that. Um and
I think the person that does that though, that gives you your usual
Yeah.
Jack, I think they'll whisper to you. It's like, Jack, do you ever like just bring in your own stuff? Why do you do this? Come on, man. Just like wear like bring your own shit.
Why would I do that when you have a jacket for me every time I come in?
Yeah, but you're such a regular man. Just I don't know. Why this one? God.
One of the miracles of our age is that you have this available for me. The Romans didn't do this sort of thing. You couldn't just walk into the vomitorium and be handed a toga.
You're so full of shit. You're so full of stories. God. And it's like this is a Tanner, who you know
Yeah.
well.
Hmm.
Always flamboyant in his own dress, and
Hmm.
usually and like dark circles under his eyes and shit. But he likes talking to you because you're full of these stories.
Yes. We both know you wouldn't want me to upstage you if I were to go get something properly tailored.
Fine. You're just lucky I find you entertaining. God.
I give him a little wink and then proceed to the table. And just throw out the chair, sit down, and like I've clearly, whatever they're playing, like I just like kind of threw whist out as a player. I don't even know what whist is, but it's like it seems like the kind of thing Victorians would play around, around a table like that. And so I, and like whatever, they finish their round, and like I pick the cards up, I easily shuffle them, I deal them out. It's like clear that I've played the game before.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just gonna kind of I'm just gonna kind of put my head down and play for a little while and just sort of see what tumbles out as people are, like as we're going and they're gossiping, and and I'm kind of like just sort of like I'm grinning to the left, grinning to the right, and then just kind of maybe like looking over the top of my cards at the reticent lady across from me.
Oh yeah. She's very reticent for sure.
Yep.
I mean, she's not even looking at you. She's just kind of like and then she's kind of like, kind of like keeping the cards on the table, keeping them face down, only like taking like a little peek underneath and then like kind of putting them down again. And then just kind of like, eyes lowered and like very demure looking.
Sure.
And then like, the younger fellow is taking surreptitious looks at her. And of course, Lord Piers is like doing his usual thing, like how you hear grumpy old men talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. That's
Yeah,
what
like
he's
he complains about the weather, and then
Yeah.
about his cards, and then
Yes.
about
Mhm.
the economy, and then about like
Absolutely.
yeah, exactly. And I'm kind of waiting for him to work his way around to complaining about the kerfuffle that happened here. And so if I could, I'd love to make a information move here.
Absolutely. Go for it. Yep.
All right. I'm going to make a case for rolling it with composure, because I'm just kind of trying to kind of keep my cool and let them like not be too eager, and just sort of let them
Oh yeah.
kind
Let
of come
them
to me
talk.
with the information. Yeah, exactly.
Let them
Yeah.
talk to you for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let me pop up the dice here. We got 2d6 plus 2. Roll that out.
Yep.
Boom. 3 and 6 is 9, and 2 is 11.
Okay.
Which I will spend a mask for to get a mastermind clue.
Oh, you beautiful person. Okay. Plus composure. 11 to 12. All right. Awesome. Mastermind clue. So I'll owe you 2 things. All right. Great. You 1 clue. So he starts rambling, and he starts assuming that you already know about the biz, which you do.
Yeah.
But, like, he assumes you know more than you even
Yeah.
say.
Like that I've been hanging around. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you've already been here, right? And it's like, yes. I knew Brookmead since he was just coming out of the youngster stage. This is a tragedy, to be sure, but perhaps not unexpected. I mean, there was that fateful expedition years ago. Yeah. Yes. Stupid. So stupid for him. Ridiculous. And, as he's talking and kind of mumbling to himself, and then he comments, and just the horror of finding his body the way it was found. I mean, and even his walking stick, that great oak thing, how it was even found broken in half. I mean, it was solid. And like, he starts working himself up into it, like just a worried fervor, and more like
Face getting red and stuff. Yeah.
yeah. And then the guy next to him is just kind of like trying to shush him, not touching his hand, like like some whatever, but like
Do tell, sir.
and then like the guy next to him is like, no, and you like, he's trying to shush Lord Mumford and he's looking at the woman, like, for her sake, but you're trying to egg him on, and it's just not working. But anyway, the clue is the.
And I'm very comfortable if we want to hold off a little bit on that mastermind clue so that it's more diegetic. You're welcome to that. You can owe it to me. I'm fine with that.
I'm gonna, but I want to write in that I'd owe it to you.
Oh, sure.
So.
Yeah. Okay.
Otherwise, I'm definitely going to forget. To be determined from Jack's clue. From Jack's card game. Okay. All right. Let me go over to Dr. Whitford to make sure.
Just when it looks like he's about to have a coronary, I say, "Oh, whist," and I lay the hand down. So yeah.
Yep. All right. So you go talk to Mother Mallory. All right. Maybe you introduce yourself when you go in, and Jack's already already gone to the card room. He already knows where the hell to go. You don't, so of course you're going to introduce yourself to the proprietress, right? Yeah. So Mother Mallory, let me introduce you to her. She's well endowed, deeply resonant voice, sorry, and she smells of jasmine. Yes, you are sent by Mrs. Pemberton Potts.
Sent may be strongly worded, but she did alert us to your situation.
Well, appreciate any help that you can give. We are at sea. We have no idea how this happened. And you are...
I'm Dr. Whitford.
Oh, a doctor?
Yes. I believe I've met some of your girls.
Oh, yes. You were here, what was it, last month to make sure that they are healthy and fine. Would you want to look at the body?
I'd like to speak to whoever found the body first, but then yes, I'd like to look at the body.
Certainly. It was, I believe it was Emma Gilmore who had seen Lord Brookmead last.
Were they entertaining Lord Brookmead last night, or did they just find them?
I believe she was entertaining. Emma doesn't necessarily entertain. She listens. She's quite the good listener.
Wonderful. Even better. Maybe he said something interesting.
I hope so. I believe she is in the living quarters. Right now, actually, I told her to go over to the rooftop terrace for a little while. As you can imagine, she seemed quite out of sorts from seeing that ghastly sight.
I can only imagine it was very distressing.
Yes. The stairs to the terrace are that way. I will show you to them.
I will follow wherever she leads.
Yes. And she leads you to the stairs leading up to the terrace. And the rooftop terrace has room and tables for parties with its sheltered awning and a view that most of London would envy had they known about it. Paint the scene. And let me paste this in here. Nuts. Oh, you mercurial PDF. Given how you feel about London, and this is for everyone, does it feel open or empty looking out over the city and beyond from this viewpoint? Given how you feel about London, does it feel open or empty looking out over the city and beyond from this viewpoint?
I think it feels empty. And I say that because this rooftop has kind of its own view of the common skyline that most other places do not have, and so it kind of puts us a little bit further away from the common perspective of London.
I think open, but more in an unsafe kind of open ground, nowhere to hide way. Like, I think Dr. Whitford spends a lot more time in alleys than she does looking at big views. So this is not a comfortable kind of open.
For Jack, it's definitely open because, like, I've been coming here since this was like, you know, um, an inn at a crossroads, right? Like in the shadow of a like a Roman garrison, and the city is kind of filled in around it, and it's like I'm fascinated by the way the city has grown, and this is one of those places where I really notice it. Because in the heart, sometimes you can't see. You get that sense of, like whatever. It feels like it's always been this way. But kind of out here a little bit more kind of outside the center of the city proper, I'm realizing that it's still growing.
And I think Rose looks out. I think Rose would find it. I think Rose would also find it open. Most of the time, I mean, most of the time when Rose wanders the streets of London, it's like the mass. It's the mass of humanity. It's the tall. It's the tall-ish buildings that are like 4 or 5 stories tall. Um, it's it feels very crowded, it feels very close, but from this view, everything kind of opens up. It doesn't feel open the way like the American West feels open, but it feels more open than the city does.
And in this open space, as unsafe as you feel in terms of being exposed, Dr. Whitford, you see in the far corner, you see, she looks medium. She looks average. She has her back to you. She's brown-haired, and she's wearing something that seems fashionable, but she doesn't wear it well from the line of her back, like from the way she's sitting. But it could be grief, it could be shock, you don't know. I mean, when she turns to you at your step, she has average eyes, she has an average face. It's just nondescript. Yeah. So then she just kind of says, and like her eyes are red rimmed as if she's been crying. Yes?
Emma, is it?
Yes, I'm Emma.
I was told that you found not Doctor, Sir Philip? Lord Philip. I was told you found Lord Philip.
Yes. Yes.
Can you tell me what happened?
Yes, he asked me to read to him, and I did, and
she's kind of like nervously, like, kind of running her hands down her skirt, and kind of like, like making biscuits is like the closest approximation to what I can think of, right? And she's saying,
and he just asked me to read from a text about one of his explorations or something. I don't really remember. All the words jumbled together, and then he wanted me to well, pleasure him, of course, and then we had taken a nap, and then when I woke from the nap, he was staring up. And when he was staring up, I was looking at his chest, and his chest was all dry, and sticks growing out of it. Where his heart should have been.
I will very awkwardly pat her on the shoulder.
I think we should go down and get some tea.
I think that's a very good idea. Let's do that.
Okay. Okay.
I think I may recommend something medicinal in your tea.
Okay. Okay.
And then, yeah, I mean, like, if you go down with her to the kitchen area, it's like, she will immediately know where all the stuff is, and then make a nice pot of tea, and she'll, she'll offer to you first,
I appreciate that, but I should probably find someone to sit with you so I can go look at the body. Is there someone you'd like me to send?
If you can, see if Cobb Stilton could come and sit.
Of course.
Yes. Thank you.
Of course. I'll send them right on.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna flee the emotional person.
She's about ready to cry in her cup. Absolutely, for sure. Yeah.
And if Cobb is easy to find, I will send Cobb.
Yeah. I mean, if you see Mother Mallory again, I mean, like, she'll direct you, like, Cobb is like one of the ones that is probably talking to her, and he's a very very pretty boy. Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, so
okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I will find Mother, ask her to send Cobb, and then head on to the body.
Yep. And then he'll go and comfort Emma, and then she'll show you to a back room where they've kept the body, and it's actually like a storage room that has like a back hallway, and like that's been cleared out where the body has been kept, because they don't know what to do with this thing.
Right.
At least not yet. At least until the investigation can be kind of cleared-ish. So, yeah. You see the body. It's been laid out on a table, and it is how they have described. It is where he is not dressed. I mean, he does. He's got basically the Victorian underwear on for the most part, but his bare chest is, the cavity is branches growing out of it. Yeah.
Can I tell where person stops and branches start? Is it an anatomical heart that has changed, or
Oh no. I mean, it is hollowed. It is I mean, it's a shell, like it's a person with the heart cavity like open, with like the branches like almost having like opened it up, and it is hollow and what's the word, exsanguinated, like you don't see any blood even, and there's no heart. There's literally no heart. And the branches will have grown out of the heart, through the chest, and up into the neck, and probably around up into the face. Yeah.
If I observe for a moment, are the branches done growing? Or is it...
Why don't you go ahead and do an information move here to see?
Okay. And
Info with reason, please.
let's see, do I have any reason?
Well, I hope so.
8 plus 1, 9.
9. Okay. So you see that the branches haven't quite finished growing. Like, imperceptible, but you have to actually be very still yourself and pause, where you can see that there's still some of the ends are like growing into him still, and maybe like peeking out And that's how you can tell that it's not quite done. Like it's still like a living thing that's still working its way through him. But also, in this, you see in his other hand, as you're looking like around his body, you see that in one hand that has like a, what's the word? Rigor mortis. Like he's clutching it, and if you try to dig it out, like you can get it mostly intact. And when you unfold it, it's a letter of steamy ardor with no recipient or sender identified. All the things that this person is going to do to this other person. Boy, howdy. And that was what was clutched in his hand. And I'm going to cut over to Lady Ross Carter to finish off our session. So, you are at Mr. Thistle's Fine Flowers.
Yes.
So,
A little description in the chat.
okay. So,
Yeah.
yep.
So to paint the scene is, what detail about the flowers make you think they have been tended to with the most modern and expensive of techniques?
They're very samey. I mean, they're not like exactly the same, but they're very, very similar.
There are a bunch of flowers for sale that are totally out of season.
There's a lot of labels with a lot of information about what soil or like what supplements these flowers have been given.
Yeah, I think just all the colors are really bright and almost like pastel, like borderlining that.
It's a little bit of a gimmick, but it's a little bit true. There is like one of the staff members, like one of the gardeners, has like a lab coat and rubber gloves and like little eyedroppers that they're using to like and it's like taking little soil samples and stirring them into test tubes and stuff like that, kind of making a show of how scientific their approach to horticulture is.
Amazing. Yeah. So, just going to read off the description that you put in there. A freshly upholstered awning striped with dandelion-colored fabric, glass vases of plants evenly placed on every surface, and a bell rings as the door opens. Yeah. So, what do you do here with Mr. Thistle?
I'm coming here because I would like to speak to Mr. Thistle. He's well known as being one of the top horticulturalists in London, and I'm curious what how he would react if I asked him about plants growing out of people. I'll get there more subtly than that, but that's what my aim is.
Gotcha. And is this the first time that you've visited before?
No, I think I come here not regularly, but if I need to show up at a place where flowers would be culturally appropriate to bring, I always come here.
Ah, lovely to see you again, Lady Ross Carter. How are you?
I am quite well, quite well. How are you today?
I'm fine. Is there anything in particular that you are looking for today?
I'm actually not in the market to buy today, but I am curious about plants.
You've come to the right place. What in particular would you like to know?
What do plants grow best in? Obviously, dirt. Don't say dirt, please. I know this much, but is there a certain element in the dirt that really encourages growth?
Oh, whoa. I mean, of course, the chemical processes vary in terms of humidity and, of course, light. I mean, the chemical
process within the plant itself as it just goes through all these, and then like he just gets like just this beautiful look on his face as he just contemplates like just the cycle of life within and without. But you are asking
Okay.
specifically
Yeah.
what best.
Any like organic matter? Perhaps have you ever experienced plants growing in, say, some dead cattle, per se, or swine?
It is not an experiment I would try.
Oh, no, I was not implying any such thing. I
But,
was merely asking if this is something that could have happened.
well, plants are quite resilient in their way. They will find elements within the environment to thrive. There have been plants that have been known to grow from cracks in the rock, or plants that survive in the harshest of conditions. So,
So you're saying it's quite possible then.
absolutely, quite possible
Have
indeed.
you seen any plants that can grow in living organisms? And let's say a plant did grow in a living organism. How quickly do you suppose it would do that? Would it take many, many weeks, or do you think it would happen rather quickly? If I were to plant a seed in one of your workers here, how long would it take to grow?
You are talking about, oh, what do they call that these days? Fantasy, science fiction, even.
Ah, but we'll be science facts soon enough, I'm sure. So don't shrug that off too quickly, my dear.
Ah, well, whatever kind of piffle you're planning on writing for novels, then I appreciate you're trying to get some facts straight, I suppose, for the foundations of your fiction.
Yes. Well, the fiction is only good when it's built on the facts.
Yes, yes, indeed. But, yes. Uh, again, I suppose that you can always grow things out of any type of environment, liquid, light. The chemical processes could be built on any permutation of such things. But living tissue, ah,
I mean, it would make sense, right? If, let's say, an organism, had a body made of carbon and has proteins, and there's fluid, there's liquid, there's water.
true,
The
true.
body, the soul didn't need the body anymore. It feels like it would be quite a good place for things to grow.
Quite the squishy pot, then. Hmm,
We are but squishy bodies.
yes. But not something I'd like to contemplate as part of my experiments, thank you.
That's fair enough. Perhaps one day you will reconsider. You never know where the next big breakthrough will come from. And
Only if
I
you
say
decide
that
to
loud.
fund my only if you decide to fund my work.
I say that loud enough for the guys with the water with the eyedroppers to hear. Uh, and you mentioned funding, and I say, oh well, I only fund groundbreaking endeavors. So if you choose to push forward, then we'll talk. But if you are only looking towards the past, I have no need. But I will say, your plants are looking pretty modern.
Yes,
What have you been doing? Bless you.
thank you. New breakthroughs. New breakthroughs to continue duplication and work to perpetuate species or possibly even mix them.
And you are just giving me guff about science fiction not 2 minutes ago, and here you are.
I can only
Genetically
tease. I cannot confirm nor deny. So, if you are asking him a specific question, this is a good time for an information move.
Yeah, I mean, I'm asking him like what's the possibility, or what would it take to grow plants in humans?
Yep. Go for it.
This is a reason.
Yep.
Guess who got a 14?
The frick, man. All right.
The witch dice.
Yep. It's being nice for whatever reason. Damn. Okay.
Wasn't particularly nice to me, but
Yeah, well, I don't know what to tell you, man. You know what it is? Okay, my theory is this. My theory is that Witch Dice really loves weird and big swings. So that was a weird and big swing. So now I owe 2 mastermind clues. Give me a second. I'm gonna write this down because I gotta. Otherwise, I'm gonna forget. Let me give you a clue. I owe 2 mastermind clues. Yeah, for whatever reason, something's weird going on and it's not showing up. DVD from Jax. Okay. It's coming up weird for me. Can somebody put in TBD from Jack's card game and then TBD from...
I can see that.
Okay, I don't know why. It's not appearing for me and I don't know what's going on. So, yeah. If somebody could put in TBD from Lady Ross Carter's... plant question, that'll be great. Sorry. And then I'll put in a clue from Little Blackbirds proper. Possible for... You may think this is something unrelated, Lady Ross Carter, but there is something in the nature of finding oneself that is something of poetry. And in that, it is where we are able to find breakthroughs, experiment more within these possibilities and theories. There may be something to what you say. Maybe this new plant that you propose could be something that grows from living organic tissue. Maybe something that we can develop to utilize even, corpses. Decomposition, so this way it allows for, what do they say, dust to dust, ashes to ashes, but instead of waiting until it gets to that point, full desiccation, it will use up the tissue, and then nature is reborn within itself. It is an idea that, and the nature of finding oneself.
My dear Mr. Thistle, you are but a poet as well as a scientist. And again, you were joking about science fiction. Here you are writing beautiful poetry about it.
You inspire me.
Oh, stop. No, keep going, actually.
And he will, of course. So.
Well, thank you. I will take, and I go over and I grab just a random vase, and I say, I would like to purchase this. What is it?
A random what?
A random flower. I don't know what it is. She doesn't care about plants, but she feels like she has to buy something now.
Yes, and he gives off a long Latin name because it's a hybrid of something and something else, and it's this will beautify anything that you put it on. A table, a mantle, or your own dressing table. It will make your reflection 1,000 times more beautiful than it already is.
Thank you very much. I think we see her leave at this moment, and whatever montage this is of her walking back to the house, we see her like sit the plant down on like a stoop somewhere, or she hands it to some poor looking guy. Just here, take this.
Absolutely. For sure. Awesome. All right. And we close off out of that, out of, you know, those scenes. I mean, we will continue on with day phase, of course, for next time. I apologize for the lateness of this, but I wanted to get through everybody and at least get through, like, whatever clue finding we could. This will not happen again, and it was a lot of faffing in the very beginning. So, anyway, thank you all for your patience. Thank you all for staying a little bit later. If you have time, let's go through some quick stars and wishes, and then we'll close out of this particular session. All right. So, you know how this goes. Stars are things that you liked about the gameplay, role play each other, and wishes are what you'd like to see for next time or the future. All right. So, whoever wants to start.
I'll go. I'll jump in first. Jim, your early death scene was properly gross and disgusting and well played, and I'm like, yeah, you've been waiting for this. Um, Kim, I loved how you were just like, wait, can I get the body part? Like you were so worried and so into that at the beginning. I loved it. And Mike, the bit where you like changed accents and all of a sudden we're like, oh, who, me? Or you kind of just turned on the like, oh, poor me moment. That was cool. And Mads, this is such a great opening to this game that you're gonna do like a long campaign to kind of have this like kind of not a freebie, but just like this quick like let's get into the thing and get rolling. It's such a great moment, particularly with people that I think already understand how the game works. You can just jump right in. It's a beautiful move. So I love it. And wishes, just let's just do this. I'm excited.
I've got some here. I can go. Some stuff I wrote down. Kim, I love that you jumped in to say that you're treating the girls. That was like, and that's the kind of thing where, and that was like a 1-2 thing where Kim, you're like, you said that thing about treating the girls, and Mads, you were like, that's great, cool, what a great into, that you're just, pretty free with letting us kind of create those, just sort of throw those hooks out there. Be above and beyond just the establishing question that the threat kind of, lays out there, sort of spells out for us, you're absolutely going to have this connection, but the fact that you're freely letting us make those other connections is really cool. And it just bodes very well for, or, that we're going to have, like, that people are going to feel real and we're going to be invested in them beyond just like case of the week type stuff. That was really neat. And the other thing, Kim, when you were like, and the doctor's going to get away from the person with the feelings, was that was like, all right. Okay. So like without, we didn't need a flashback to like get some idea of what her deal is. Clint, at the beginning, when you literally said, the kids can get home on their own. Um, and like just the idea that like Lady Ross Carter, like she's the boss, but like she's not our chaperone. She can't be bothered to like, she like to make sure that we're, and like, and we also established a little bit of like, I get a little vibe of like, like if we can't get home on our own, there's no point to us doing this. Like, like it's kind of, it's like we've stopped asking her, is this a test? Because the answer is always, of course it is, dear. Is like the vibe, very much sort of the vibe I'm getting off of her, and I'm really looking forward to more of that. Mike, when you had Rose spike her coffee, little hair of the dog to to get her going, and like Clint, I loved the switching accents thing. I wrote on my pad, I wrote the word bamboozle here because that feels like a very kind of American con artist sort of a, like we're gonna find out, and like that's just a little hint of like we're gonna like, you know, just how much of her story is her embellishing and how much of it is, and that was I love that just kind of little insight into her. Mads, just rolling with what we're doing. The that that cold open thing is a real high wire act, and just I mean I sort of vamped a little because we filmed it out of order, and I was like, that cold open was amazing before we had actually played it. But honestly, that cold open was amazing. That was super, super cool. And the way that you worked it all in, and there was a thing where, like, clearly it was kind of like, okay, you're in the kitchen. All right, where are we going with this? Don't know, but let's find out. And so, because we'd kind of talked a little bit about it in advance, but, whatever plans, contact with the enemy, et cetera, et cetera. But I really loved how that worked out. That was very cool, and it's a neat way to start the game to really and something that honestly I may steal because it's like a because one of the things about some of these CFB games, sorry, at risk of going on a little, one of the things about these CFB games is that they can, if you don't do that, they can be a little slow to get started because you're just like, here's a case, and we're going to start doing some clues and stuff like that, and just throwing us in at the deep end of the pool like that. That was really cool. I haven't started a game like that, and I thought it worked really great. So, yeah. Wishes, like, looking forward to meeting the mastermind. Like I'm hoping that after all this is done, we get our little stinger first time we see the mastermind scene. But we've got a couple mastermind clues and to just hit the ground running with that. Really looking forward to engaging with the mastermind like right up front.
Yeah, I can go. Yeah, stars all around. This is a great first session. I really, really enjoyed this. This is really a lot of fun. I think all of these characters are super compelling, and I'm really curious to see where we go with them. Big start of Mads for the whole cold open. That was, again, I haven't seen it in this kind of game. I have there's some like action oriented games that when I GM that I'll start like in media res, like if I'm doing a Star Wars game, like here's the situation, they're shooting at you, what do you do? I'll start that, or I ran a game called Outgunned not too long ago, and again I started that one in the middle of a firefight. I haven't seen anyone do a cold open for a CFB game before, and I thought that was really cool. I am probably going to steal that idea. Again, as Jim said, as a way to get us going. Like a few role playing moments. I have to echo what Clint said, Jim, about Jack's death scene in like the first, in the first 20 minutes of the episode. Bam, splat. Oh well, I guess he's gone. Oh nope, he's waking up. And Kim, I'm definitely seeing like Kim, the way you had Dr. Whitford like immediately minister to Jack's injuries, as if like, yep, here we go again. And also when the two of you went to like answer the doorbell in Hargrave House, I'm definitely seeing. I'm really liking that. I'm seeing like these two characters definitely have like an immediate connection, which I think is fun to see like right out the gate. Clint, I'm really enjoying the yeah, I'm really enjoying like Lady Ross Carter's kind of like no nonsense. Like, yep, I do not suffer fools, and I'm expecting you all to take care of yourselves. Which, yeah, again just thought that was great, and also that whole scene at the flower shop that you decided to drop in, very cool. And like also shout out to Mads again for like letting us like just letting us define stuff. Like letting us just grab narrative authority and run with it when it seems appropriate. Yeah, thank you for trusting us to get more high bullshit on in this game. I'm really really having a fun. I mean, if the rest of the game goes as well as this first session, I'm like really excited for it. I had a really really good really good time tonight. As for wishes, don't have anything specific other than like I just want to see where this goes. I want to have more interactions with these characters and see how they interact, and I'm looking forward to people starting to put on masks of the past so we start seeing more of these characters' backstories.
I loved the let's make soup part of the cold open. I don't remember if it was Clint or Mike who actually started making soup as the ghost repellent, but whichever one of you that started it was brilliant, and the other one going along was also awesome. I loved Jack just not having a coat and just assuming there will be one there for him. And I just all of the establishing the scene, both the questions and our answers, and everything everyone put in there, everyone else's personal quarters, I thought was really resonant. Jim, the detail of Jack being like, we're just gonna draw a crowd waiting for him to wake up, I thought was really cool. And I know everyone else has said it, but the just zero fucks piecing out of Lady Ross Carter was really solid and gave like just so much detail about that character in like a sentence. Wishes, like I feel like my character is really strongly gravitating towards Jack, which makes sense if I'm obsessed with death, but I'm really interested in talking directly to other characters as well. I have no idea why my cat unplugging my headphones has fucked my sound. I apologize for that.
No,
But that's me.
Yeah. I mean, sounds fine now. So it's fine. Trying to figure out like what stars to give that haven't already been mentioned or what have you, but overall, I'm very pleased with what you guys have done so far. Holy crap, a doodle do. I mean, like the narrative control, I mean, as I've told Kim in the game facilitators camp that I ran, yeah, when you guys do, you know, most of the fill in for me, it's like, I feel like that is like not only helping me do my job better because then I can concentrate on other things like where I can stay 3 steps ahead of you guys, but also then you're also contributing to and adding to the world where I know where you want to engage. Like it's giving me clues about, oh, this is what they're interested in. All right, fabulous. Awesome. So you're helping me. All right. Um, like, just to kind of like tag that on as a wish, like to find out like what people you're going to be interested in to be engaged with. So, as we develop that's going to be the interesting part to me, to find the connections outside of yourselves that you're going to be interested in. So stars. Again, all the narrations, like Clint's edition of Mr. Thistle's shop. That's your baby and that's your creation. So kudos to that. That was amazing. And yeah, I mean, like I just did Mr. Thistle on the fly, so hopefully that was okay. A weirdo, but like we were just like doing a back and forth of like, yeah, we're just into our own bullshit, and it's wonderful. It's great. Yes, anding, absolutely, for sure. And, Rose is a character, and just like, yeah, you do realize that Hip Flask was pulled out like at what, 10 o'clock in the morning? Just like, Mrs. McGarrity's probably approving, but she's not going to let you know that. It's fine. And, oh, yes, and the creation of Mrs. McGarrity. Yeah, that was awesome. Like Hargrave House needs like some instilling of some no nonsense stuff, and like she's it. That's great. Like Lady Ross Carter hiring her on, absolutely perfect. 10 out of 10. No star. No notes. Awesome. And then Jack. I mean, like all your descriptions of like everything that Jack was doing, Jim, was just amazing. And just his. Yeah, I've done this shit before. Let me just like, like it's, here it is, old hat again. But there's just something about this that I'm just wondering whether it's going to lead to his ruin this particular case, because I'm wondering if he's met anybody like Dr. Whitford before. And I'm wondering if this is going to be leading to his undoing. So it'll be interesting to watch. And then same for Dr. Whitford, because how are you going to resolve this whole thing about like you have fascination with death, but yet also keep like your scientific curiosity and also like scientific skepticism, when you've got this person that like dies, comes back, dies, comes back, dies, comes back? What the hell? I don't know. I don't know. I think I'd go mad before I'd like resolve that problem. Yeah, and then finding out like how much more of a rivalry, frenemy, enemy to enemy, I don't know, whatever relationship Mrs. Pemberton Potts and Lady Ross Carter have from their past. I mean, like that's going to be interesting to find out. Yeah. So many different things, and I love what you guys did with today's session. So yeah, more of it. This is the basic wish, and I'm so sorry for keeping you so long today. I'm so sorry, but hopefully we'll be back on track like once we get the sessions moving. And yeah, awesome. So have a wonderful week. Happy gaming to you all, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much. See you guys.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Good night.
Bye. You have resolved, sort of, that particular threat. You get the custom move Old Bones from that particular threat. When you have Cosmic Passage marked and touch, listen to, or otherwise attune to a building's architectural details, roll with sensitivity. On a hit, a ghost will appear and answer a single question you pose to it or perform a small task. Your choice. Any answers it gives can be in the form of a clue at the keeper's discretion. On a 10 plus, as above, and the ghost will not ask for anything in return. I'll put this in the custom move section in the Hunters tab a little bit later. But you also get the choice of rewards. So let me go ahead and post these. Give me a second.
So that's a custom move we all get access to.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds
exactly.
like. Oh, that's
yes.
super cool. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but you have, I think you have to have Cosmic Passage to, yes, you have to have Cosmic Passage marked. So just keep that in mind before you use it. I got it! Ooh, yes, okay. The only one that does not apply is unmark the Cosmic Passage if, whatever. Yeah. That, you don't have to do that one. Like, you don't have to pick that one if you don't want, okay? But everything else applies. So, you have the choice of a jar of ectoplasm added to your personal quarters. A mirror that always shows a reflection of the St. James's Street ghost added to your personal quarters. A memento from the investigation, ask another hunter what it is, and then add it to your personal quarters. You got a choice of 3 of those. So, and then there's the choice. Well, I mean, I guess you could do the unmark the Cosmic Passage if you want, if it's marked, and reverse any effects of it being marked. And explain why performing the quieting ritual is making you less attuned to the supernatural world. So, I mean, if that's beneficial to you, you could do that if you want as a reward, but you don't have to, again. So, pick which one of those rewards you want. Unless it's a memento from the investigation, don't double up.
I would like. I'm going to pick on Kim. Kim, will you give me a memento from this investigation?
Would you like some vertebra?
Vertebrae.
I mean, if that's what you think I would walk away with. Just to put you on.
Were you holding anything in the kitchen that you forgot to put down when you walked away?
God,
An elaborate salt shaker? Were you salting whatever you were making?
That was the goal.
She was salty.
How about I just have a pocket of herbs and spices?
I'll take the jar of ectoplasm if that's okay with everybody else, because hey, jar of ectoplasm.
I don't feel like I want the entirety of the father-in-law skull, half of spine. Did they have any? Would they have been wearing anything that would have come with their rotten corpse?
Did they have a pocket watch on them, perhaps?
Probably.
Or if you took their skull, perhaps they had some spectacles on.
Oh, gold teeth.
Ooh, yeah.
I have like 3 gold teeth then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That greedy bastard had probably some gold teeth. Absolutely.
A mouthful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
They insisted on taking to the grave with him. Yeah.
Exactly.
I will 100% take that mirror that always shows the reflection of the ghost.
Okay. All right.
So that I can have words with it.
Lovely. Okay. Everybody got a reward, yeah? Perfect. Okay, great. So I know it's like a little bit early, but I don't mind taking like yet another break, just to kind of like, since we're at the close of a night phase. Okay. Did anybody consider doing anything with their particular elective dawn question? Just for funsies. I don't know if you did or not, but if you did, you can go ahead and just kind of make a little check mark. Did you use violence to solve a problem? Like, that's just for instance. I'm just saying. But if you didn't, don't worry about it. I mean, like, it was just a quickie something or other. But it is part of phase. So anyway.
I mean, I don't know if pounding my way out of that dumbwaiter counts as violence.
Yes. So you can totally count it. So.
Where was it? I have to scroll up. Did I put my hands in a pile of guts and love every moment
yes,
of
you
it?
did. Unless you didn't love it, in which case that doesn't count. So.
Kind of did.
Okay. So then you can totally take that. So you take that point for XP. Just for funsies, let's just go ahead. Lady Rosamond, did you deliver a chilling dead-eyed monologue about the horrors of the world?
Not yet.
Okay. And you didn't leverage your social status to gain the upper hand yet? No. Jack, did you admit that modernity has its advantages, or did you express envy for those lucky enough to feel the sweet release of death?
I was kind of otherwise occupied pretty much from the jump there, so that was, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just
if I had been thinking about it, I would have, when I saw the corpse of the neighbor, I would have said, lucky blighter, something like that. But I didn't get to do that. So, yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, just wanted to check. Okay. So for those of you that did mark an elective dawn question, go ahead and take that point, put it in your XP track, and then clear your elective dawn question. Go ahead and change them as you will. And if you don't want to, you don't have to. Okay.